The air on Zorath reeked of ash and blood. The jungle clearing was a battlefield, torn apart by claw marks and plasma scorches. Kalia, a young Vren warrior, stood at its center, her scaled hide slick with sweat and ichor. Her spear, once a gleaming heirloom of her clan, lay shattered at her feet, its obsidian tip cracked against the carapace of a Scrath beast. Around her, a dozen Scrath hunters closed in, their insectoid forms clicking with hunger. Their mandibles snapped, and their multifaceted eyes gleamed under Zorath's twin moons. Kalia's breath came in ragged gasps. Her clan had been ambushed while scouting for resources, their numbers cut down by the Scrath's relentless pack tactics. She was the last, her kin's bodies strewn across the clearing. Her tail lashed defiantly, but her strength was fading. The Scrath tightened their circle, their chittering growing louder, sensing her weakness. The Vren were proud warriors, their reptilian forms built for agility and precision. Kalia had trained since hatchlinghood, mastering the spear and the hunt. But the Scrath were relentless, a hive-mind species that overwhelmed through numbers and ferocity. She'd killed 3, but 9 remained, and her weapon was gone. She drew her curved dagger, its blade pitifully small against the towering predators. "Come on, then," she hissed, her voice raw but unyielding. "I'm not done yet." The Scrath lunged as one, a coordinated assault meant to end her. Kalia dodged, her claws digging into the dirt, but a claw grazed her side, drawing a line of green blood. She slashed back, her dagger sinking into a Scrath's leg, but another struck her from behind, knocking her to her knees. The circle closed tighter. This was it. Then, a sound split the night, a deafening roar, not from any beast, but mechanical. A streak of fire tore across the sky, and something crashed into the clearing with a thunderous boom. Dust and debris exploded outward, scattering the Scrath. Kalia shielded her eyes, coughing as the smoke cleared. A figure emerged from the wreckage of a smoldering pod, human-shaped but clad in a battered exosuit of dull gray metal. He was small compared to the Scrath, barely half their height, with dark skin and a shock of black hair tied back. He carried a strange, boxy weapon slung across his shoulder, and his eyes, sharp, brown, and fearless, locked onto the scene. "Mind if I join the fight?" he said, his voice calm but carrying a dangerous edge. Kalia stared, her mind reeling. A human? Here? Zorath was a contested world, far from the Galactic Concord's core systems. Humans were rare, dismissed as weaklings by most species. Yet this one stood unflinching as the Scrath regrouped, their chittering now laced with confusion. "Who are you?" Kalia rasped. "Name's Marcus Kane," he said, unclipping his weapon. A human-made pulse rifle, its barrel humming faintly. "Heard there was trouble out here. Looks like I found it." The Scrath recovered quickly, their hive mind adapting to the new threat. 2 charged Marcus, their claws slashing. Kalia expected him to fall instantly. Humans were soft, unarmored, prey-like. But Marcus moved with a predator's grace, sidestepping the first Scrath and firing a burst of plasma. The creature's carapace exploded, and it collapsed in a heap. The second Scrath lunged, but Marcus rolled forward, planting a knife in its underbelly. It screeched and fell, twitching. Kalia's jaw dropped. The human fought like a Vren, precise and ruthless, but with a reckless confidence she'd never seen. The remaining Scrath hesitated, their chittering growing erratic. Marcus didn't wait. He raised his rifle, firing controlled bursts that dropped 2 more before they could react. "Get behind me!" he shouted to Kalia. She scrambled to her feet, clutching her dagger, and fell in beside him. "You're insane," she said, but there was admiration in her voice. "Been called worse?" Marcus grinned, reloading his rifle with a practiced flick. "You good to keep fighting?" Kalia nodded, her warrior's pride flaring. "I'm Vren. We don't quit." "Good. Let's make these bugs regret waking up today." Together they faced the Scrath. Marcus's rifle laid down a barrage, forcing the creatures to scatter for cover. Kalia used her agility, darting in to slash at exposed joints and eyes. The human and Vren moved in sync, an unspoken rhythm forming between them. When a Scrath flanked Marcus, Kalia tackled it, her dagger finding its throat. When another pinned Kalia against a tree, Marcus blasted it off her with a precise shot. The tide turned. The Scrath, unused to resistance this fierce, began to falter. Their hive mind relied on overwhelming force, but Marcus's unpredictability and Kalia's ferocity disrupted their coordination. One by one, the predators fell until only two remained. They fled into the jungle, their chittering fading into the night. Kalia leaned against a tree, panting. Her side bled, but she was alive. Marcus wiped his knife on his sleeve, his exosuit scorched but intact. He glanced at her, assessing. "You're hurt. Got anything to patch that up?" She shook her head. "Vren, heal fast. I'll live." She studied him, her slit pupil eyes narrowing. "Why are you here, human? Zorath's no place for your kind." Marcus chuckled, slinging his rifle over his shoulder. "I'm a scout for the Terran Expeditionary Force. We picked up a distress signal, your clan's, I'm guessing. My ship was nearby, so I dropped in." Literally. Kalia's tail twitched. "You crashed your pod on purpose?" "Calculated risk," he said with a shrug. "Figured I'd get their attention." She stared, torn between disbelief and awe. Humans were supposed to be weak, yet this one had fought like a Vren warlord. "You're kind. You're not what the stories say." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "Stories say we're soft, right? Slow, squishy. No claws or scales." "Something like that," he smirked. "Yeah, we get that a lot. Come on, let's find your people. There's gotta be survivors." Kalia led Marcus through the jungle, following the faint trail of her clan's retreat. Her wounds ached, but she pushed on, driven by duty and the humans' relentless pace. Marcus moved like he belonged in the jungle, his scanner pinging softly as he tracked Scrath movements. He'd salvaged supplies from his pod, medkits, rations, and a portable shield generator. When Kalia stumbled, he offered her a stim shot from his kit, which she grudgingly accepted. The pain dulled, and her strength returned. They found the remnants of her clan in a cave, a dozen survivors huddled around a dying fire. Elders, hatchlings, and wounded warriors looked up as Kalia entered, their eyes widening at the human beside her. The clan leader, an ancient Vren named Torek, rose, his scales dulled with age but his presence commanding. "Kalia," Torek rumbled, "you live, and you bring a human." "This is Marcus Kane," Kalia said, her voice steady. "He saved me from the Scrath, fought them like one of us." Murmurs rippled through the clan. Torek's eyes narrowed, assessing Marcus. "Humans are not warriors. Why risk your life for us?" Marcus met his gaze. "Because no one deserves to be hunted like that. My people know what it's like to fight against the odds. We don't leave others to die." Torek's tail flicked, a sign of consideration. "The Scrath will return. They always do." "Then we hit them first," Marcus said. "I've got a signal beacon in my pod. I can call for backup, human ships, maybe some Concord allies. But we need to hold this cave until they arrive." Kalia stepped forward. "He's right. The Scrath won't expect us to fight back. Not with a human at our side." The clan debated, voices rising in fear and hope. The elders were skeptical, but the younger warriors, inspired by Kalia's survival, rallied to her side. Torek finally nodded. "We trust you, Kalia. And you, human. Prove your worth." Marcus and Kalia worked through the night, fortifying the cave. He set up the shield generator, creating a shimmering barrier at the entrance. Kalia taught him Vren tactics, flanking maneuvers, baiting traps. In return, Marcus showed her how to use his pulse rifle, its kick bruising her shoulder, but thrilling her with its power. At dawn, the Scrath returned, a larger pack than before. Their chittering filled the jungle, a promise of death. But this time, the Vren were ready. Marcus and Kalia stood at the forefront, the shield glowing between them and the enemy. When the Scrath charged, the shield held, absorbing their initial assault. Marcus fired through the barrier, thinning their ranks, while Kalia led a group of warriors through a hidden tunnel to flank the pack. The battle was brutal but swift. The Scrath, expecting a broken prey, met a united front of Vren ferocity and human ingenuity. Marcus's traps, rigged vines, and explosive charges caught the Scrath off guard, while Kalia's warriors struck with spears and claws. By midday, the pack was decimated, the survivors fleeing into the jungle. As the dust settled, a roar filled the sky. Human dropships descended, their hulls gleaming in the sunlight. Soldiers in exosuits poured out, securing the area. The Vren watched in awe as the humans moved with disciplined precision, their technology rivaling the Concorde's best. Torek approached Marcus, his eyes gleaming with respect. "You fought as kin, human. The Vren owe you a debt." Marcus shook his head. "No debt, just neighbors helping neighbors. Earth's new to the galaxy, but we're here to stay." Kalia clasped his forearm, a Vren gesture of trust. "You're no prey, Marcus Kane. You're a hunter." He grinned. "Takes one to know one." Weeks later, at the Galactic Concorde's assembly hall, Kalia stood beside Marcus as he addressed the delegates. The Vren had nominated him as their advocate, a rare honor for an outsider. The Krillic and Viltari, once dismissive of humans, listened in silence as Marcus recounted the battle on Zorath. Kalia's testimony sealed it. Humanity was no weak species. They were warriors, allies, kin. The Concorde voted to fast-track Earth's membership, and whispers of Skyfaller spread among the delegates. Kalia watched Marcus, her friend and brother-in-arms, and felt a spark of hope. The galaxy was vast and dangerous, but with humans by their side, the Vren, and perhaps all species, could face it unafraid.